New York Knicks star Karl-Anthony Towns has responded to critics in an absolutely huge way that Knicks fans are loving, making them even more excited to see how he fares in Mike Brown's team. That is going to change a lot, while also the shocking truth has been revealed behind one of Leon Rose's more controversial decisions over the last couple of days, where the Knicks have made approximately 561 moves. Being that the Knicks have made a ton of moves, there's been a lot of stuff that fans can agree or disagree on, but there was one thing that most Knicks fans have voiced publicly they completely disagree with on the front that Leon Rose made the decision of, and many wondered why this decision was made. Well, now we have the full details revealed to us on why the Knicks would make this decision. We're going to talk about what that is, how it's going to affect the Knicks going forwards, and how there actually is a way to remedy this and stop Knicks fans from really being very upset with this, and also just break down everything surrounding the town stuff as well. There's a lot to go over with the Knicks right now, guys, and you don't want to miss a single update, so make sure you're subscribed to Knicks Digest so you do not miss anything New York Knicks related. Turn on those post notifications, and let's get into this and have some fun talking with the Knicks, guys. How we all doing today? The video I recorded yesterday, so I'm excited to talk some Knicks with you guys. Look, Karl-Anthony Towns, after his first season in New York, the man was great. I mean, look, I went on record. The video is up. I'm outside recording a Knicks Digest video in a very, very weird way because I was like on Zoom, and it was a whole screen capture, virtual green screen, insane situation that was just a nightmare. But it got done. And when Karl-Anthony Towns got traded to the Knicks, I very much went on the record and said, on the corner of 13th Street and 1st Avenue, or 13th Street and Avenue A, I believe, of the East Village in Manhattan, that this was an absolutely horrible move by the New York Knicks, and that Julius Randle himself was better than Karl-Anthony Towns, and also losing Dante DiVincenzo was not only a terrible idea, but a punch in the face. I was dead wrong. The Knicks trading for Karl-Anthony Towns was an absolutely successful move. The Knicks, they got a center who has been nothing short of phenomenal with the team, and there was criticism that Towns, it was understandable why fans were upset about. I went out there and said that Karl-Anthony Towns is soft, that he can't play defense, and that despite the fact that he is one of the more intriguing offensive players in basketball, it's not going to make up for losing an all-star, an all-NBA player in Julius Randle, and then also losing one of the best shooters the Knicks have ever had on their team. The thing is, Karl-Anthony Towns is an all-star starter, an all-NBA player, and one of the best shooters the New York Knicks have ever seen. I didn't expect all that, while also my comments about him being soft were not only stupid, but just completely dead wrong. And when you consider a situation like that, Towns, he has gotten that his entire career. Well, he finally went out and actually responded to this. Shout out to New York Basketball for bringing this up. This is a quote I take from them, from Karl-Anthony Towns. And Towns said, "All criticism is good. It gives me a chance to go back in the lab. Every year I've shown I'm continuing to find another level, reinventing myself for the betterment of the team. And I'm going to continue until I have a ring." Now, Towns getting better is a terrifying thought for opposing teams, considering he just had a season, one of the best of his NBA career, where he put up 24.4 points per game, 12.8 rebounds, and 3 assists. He got a steal per game, shot 42% from 3, and 52% from the field. He's about to turn 30 years old, and Karl-Anthony Towns is in the prime of his career, looking like an absolute monster. He had multiple massive moments with the Knicks. The Knicks would have went down 3-0 to the Pacers if Karl-Anthony Towns didn't have a 20-point fourth quarter. The Knicks would have had to go to at least Game 7 against the Detroit Pistons if Karl-Anthony Towns didn't hit a fadeaway from behind the basket and then follow that up with a three-pointer from a different area code from out of the state of Michigan. So when Karl-Anthony Towns did both those things, he was loved by Knicks fans forever, and he continued to show time and time again that he absolutely is one of the best players and one of the best big men in the NBA and the second best big man in the Eastern Conference, only to Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yes, I'm aware that I'm not mentioning someone, but they don't play anymore, and frankly, I'm not going to count someone who's not playing basketball games, isn't making the playoffs, and, well, took Towns 1 year to make the conference finals, but, you know, that guy still hasn't. Now that you guys all know who I'm talking about, and Joel Embiid, we're going to move on because Towns is a lot better on defense than people are giving him credit for. When we look at Data Baller, which gave us a lot of stuff regarding Karl-Anthony Towns, we're actually going to make this bigger to hammer the point in. Look, what we see from in the regular season, or in the playoffs, excuse me, when the Knicks had their two-man lineup, their best duo, what we saw with Towns on and Brunson off was a net rating of 16.8. Now, the offensive rating was better with Brunson on the floor, don't get me wrong, but the defensive rating was a lot better with Brunson off the floor. Even though Karl-Anthony Towns was on the floor, he still was leading a Knicks defense. He wasn't the best player on defense, I'm not saying that, but he was the best player on the court. And the Knicks defense had a 93.9 defensive rating, which is absolutely great. When Brunson was on the floor and Cat was off, they had a 115.5. When Brunson and Cat were both on, they had a 117.4 because you could just attack him in the pick and roll. And I'm not saying Karl-Anthony Towns is some elite defender. I'm just saying he's, not the worst defender in history like he gets a lot for. Now, at the same time, Towns also, when him and Brunson were off, the defensive rating was just worse than ever was, and the offensive rating was terrible. Because at the end of the day, this team does run on Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, and no part of me is trying to shade Jalen Brunson from this whatsoever. He's phenomenal. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah, he's not the greatest defender in the world, but at the same time, you could hide a bad defender when they put up that type of offense for their team. That is what I'm mentioning here. We also then look at this number right here, where we look at the Knicks and what we see is the fact that this team has been absolutely great with their defenders. Karl-Anthony Towns, he had a slightly positive defensive rating in the EPM and estimated skills that we see where OG Anunoby absolutely cooks in. We also see that Karl-Anthony Towns' defense was a net positive, which is huge here. And just continuing that and continuing to look at the stuff like this, what we've seen is just the fact that Karl-Anthony Towns has been a much better defender this season than he is getting credit for. Now, with all that being said, there is more to go over with the Knicks as well. When we just take a look at everything, we also got a huge update regarding a massive situation with their younger players. Yesterday, it was announced that the New York Knicks have waived Dink Pate and Bryson Warren. Both players were signed to Exhibit 10 deals to get them to the Westchester Knicks of the G League. And Jeremy Cohen explained why the Knicks did waive Dink Pate when a lot of fans didn't want them to. Jeremy Cohen mentioned saying, I'd expect Dink Pate to eventually head to Westchester on a G League deal. Because he wasn't drafted by the Knicks, he's ineligible for the rookie extension. He can sign for a rookie minimum, but it would count as a higher amount towards the tax. It's not enough second apron space. So basically, at the end of the day, what we're seeing in this situation is Dink Pate effectively finding himself where, yes, he is a great talent that the Knicks absolutely love. He put up 10 points per game, 6 rebounds, shot 50% from 3 in the Summer League. The man belongs on the rookie roster, as of right now, more than Mohamed Diawara was. But since the Knicks drafted Diawara and not Dink Pate, what we see is a situation where they'd have to pay Dink Pate more that they just can't afford the way they can afford Diawara. So that's all there is to it. The Knicks do like Dink Pate and will work to make sure that he doesn't go anywhere, and so they can have him for the long haul. This is not anti-Dink Pate. This is more just the financial situation that the Knicks find themselves in trying to be a contender. And sometimes when you have to be a contender, when your full focus is winning the championship in 2026, stuff like this is going to happen. Don't get me wrong. I'm upset that the Knicks didn't end up drafting Dink Pate after all. I do wish they did. They had interest in drafting him. They ultimately chose Diawara because they see a higher ceiling there, is my expectation. They like the French connection. So we're going to see how that all goes. But guys, let me know what you think about this situation. Revolving Pate, revolving Karl-Anthony Towns. I'm sorry this video was a little bit choppy. Sometimes OBS decides it's just not going to work right, and it's really annoying when that happens. I hope you guys stuck through it. I know it was a little bit choppy. There was a little bit of cuts and jumps around. That usually never happens. If you've watched the channel for a while, you know that. But make sure to like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe, turn on post notifications. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will catch you on the next one. Go Knicks. I realized I was about to screw this up and, do that thing where I think I stopped recording and I don't, so now I'm just rambling for no reason. Bye.